Prologue. Queen Ethaniel of Kandor rides through the Black Hills with her escort, avoiding villages to maintain secrecy. She meets with King Paitar of Arafel, King Essar of Shinar, and Queen Tenobia of Saldea. Tensions rise due to conflicting plans involving Aes Sedai in their midst, with Tenobia insisting on moving forward with her own Aes Sedai. Meanwhile, Varen manipulates Beldine using a complex weave resembling compulsion, seeking information about hidden supporters of Rand al'Thor. Beldine is broken, made to believe escape is impossible, while Varen continues her secretive efforts to support Rand's survival. In Chapter 1, tension mounts as Aviendha, Elaine, Nynaeve, and Birgitte prepare to leave Ebudar with the Kin and Windfinders. Nynaeve asserts control over Ispan, a captured Black Aja member, while maintaining order among the group. Aviendha creates a gateway to their destination, although she struggles with her abilities. As they prepare to depart, Aviendha spots a mysterious figure on a high tower, sensing danger. She warns Elaine and Nynaeve to stay alert. The group begins crossing through the gateway, but Aviendha remains uneasy about the threat looming over them. In Chapter 2, Elaine and Nynaeve exit through a gateway, tense with the Windfinders and kinswomen. Elaine uncovers an angriel asterisk that enhances her power, despite warnings from Vandane about the dangers of Ter'angreal. Tensions rise when Aviendha performs a forbidden act by unraveling the gateway, shocking the Aes Sedai. Aviendha insists it was necessary to prevent enemies from tracking them. Meanwhile, Moradin observes them from afar, disturbed by the unraveling of the gateway. He learns the group possesses a Ter'angreal called the Bowl of the Winds, which could control weather, heightening his concern. In Chapter 3, Elaine leads a large group through various landscapes while dealing with internal conflicts among her companions. Aviendha expresses frustration over missed warnings, and Elaine faces tension with Merilil and other Aes Sedai regarding the Kin's trustworthiness. Elaine defends the Kin, despite rumors about their exaggerated ages. Continuous leadership struggles, brewing distrust, and subtle manipulation from the Aes Sedai add to the complications of their journey. Elaine becomes frustrated as she tries to manage these issues, longing for the relative ease of her duties in Camlin. The chapter ends as they near the Kin's farm. In Chapter 4, Elaine, Nynaeve, and Aviendha arrive at the Kin's farm, where Elise, the manager, panics upon seeing Aes Sedai. Nynaeve attempts to restore order as chaos ensues. Meanwhile, Adeleas and Vandane capture the dark friend Ispan to interrogate her about the Black Aja. Elaine contemplates how to question Ispan within Tower Law and ultimately decides to speak with her alone. Outside, Elise confronts the Windfinders, asserting authority over them. Elaine and Aviendha search the pack horses, discovering a wealth of Ter'angreal and Angreal. Nynaeve interrupts, declaring it's time to act. In Chapter 5, Elaine and her group ascend a hill to use the Bowl of the Winds, but tensions rise as Nynaeve, frustrated with the preparations, seeks Elaine's focus. Care, a Windfinder, insists Nynaeve demonstrate her linking skills, leading to a successful circle formation. However, using the bowl draws Sadan unexpectedly, causing panic. Afterward, Elaine senses a storm, prompting Nynaeve to suggest returning for Mat. Elaine insists on staying due to the dangers of the Forsaken, recognizing the Seanchan threat. Renail attempts to create a gateway but fails. Elaine demands everyone to leave the hill to avoid capture, and they flee. In Chapter 6, Elaine leads her group away from danger as they face the approaching Seanchan. Tensions rise when Nynaeve criticizes Elaine for delaying the closing of a gateway meant for escape. During the chaos, Elaine struggles to maintain the gateway while Birgitte and Aviendha defend against Seanchan soldiers. As Elaine channels, exhaustion sets in and the gateway collapses, causing Elaine and Aviendha to fall. Injured but alive, they find each other and share a moment of sisterhood. Meanwhile, Chulainn, flying above, witnesses the destruction of the farm, realizing the threat the Aes Sedai pose to the Seanchan forces. In Chapter 7, Perrin observes the tense situation in Bethel through a looking glass. Soldiers are on edge due to threats from the Prophet's followers in white cloaks. Faeli encourages Perrin to discreetly approach Queen Aleandra, while Berylin insists on doing it herself. Ultimately, Perrin decides Berylin and Anora should go on his behalf. As armed men attack a goat pen, Perrin devises a plan to frighten them. A thunderclap and a spinning wheel of fire create chaos among the attackers, allowing Perrin to rescue a woman, Maideen. Despite her initial resistance, Maideen accepts Perrin's invitation to his camp for safety. In Chapter 8, Perrin's group camps by a stream, where he notes rising tensions among the Winged Guards and Shaido Gaishain. After a confrontation regarding Two Rivers banners, he learns from Basil Gill about the Seancients' capture of Amador, raising concerns for their journey. Fael offers Maideen and her companions a place in her service, which they accept. Faelu instructs her retainers on a plan involving a return to Bethel, where they report on the bleak conditions under the Prophet's influence. Meanwhile, Maideen grapples with her new identity as a maid, while navigating her feelings for Talonvor, complicating her goals. In Chapter 9, Perrin wakes up to find Fael managing her new servants while he reflects on his responsibilities. He meets with Basil Gill and Balver, who warns him of threats from the Seancian, the Prophet, and the White Cloaks. To ease tensions among the men, Perrin instructs Arm to share this information. During a camp inspection, he learns the first hasn't returned, causing unease about the Aes Sedai's behavior. Perrin then confronts the Wise Ones, who insist he must kill Mesema Dagar due to a threat revealed by Dreamwalkers, complicating his duty to Rand al'Thor. In Chapter 10, Perrin feels unsettled after leaving the Wise Ones' tent. He meets Masuri, Gaul, and Elias, who warns him about his connection to the Dragon Reborn. Berelain arrives with a messenger from Queen Aleandra of Galdan, who pledges her fealty to Perrin after revealing Illian's fall to the Dragon Reborn. Perrin agrees to help, planning to find the Prophet. Meanwhile, Fael plots with Berelain and Anora, discussing the complexities of power and loyalty. Perrin later oversees the hanging of prisoners who burned a farm, asserting his authority. A sudden storm hints at changing times. In Chapter 11, Savannah finds a dead man in the stable, realizing the failure of their interrogation. The women express their fears about the Seancian and their leadership doubts. Savannah, ambitious for power, instructs the maidens to bury the body. As they pass through a clearing, a man named Kinhuin seeks judgment from the Wise Ones, prompting Savannah to manipulate the situation. Meanwhile, Galena, captured and desperate, swears allegiance to Savannah, who then reveals an oath rod. Tharava and the Wise Ones confront Savannah about her leadership, deciding to move north to establish a hold, while Galena's hopes for escape diminish. In Chapter 12, Grandal sends a letter to Lord Ituralde, intending to stain it with blood for authenticity. She meets Moghedien and Sindani, expressing her opposition to Moradin's leadership. Tensions escalate when Shaidar Haran, a Myrdral, arrives as a messenger from the Great Lord. Grandal kneels before him, acknowledging his authority, and receives commands, including a visit to Moradin. She resolves to keep her letter secret from the Great Lord. Meanwhile, Katswani discusses Alana's failings with Sorelia, who reveals the importance of teaching Rand al'Thor laughter and tears, leading to a bond between them to achieve this goal. In Chapter 13, Rand al'Thor prepares to confront a disbanded army of Illian amidst cold rain and strong winds. Tensions rise among the nobles, debating whether Rand should lead the confrontation. Despite doubts, Rand decides to face the soldiers himself, accompanied by his Ashaman. He encounters a defiant bowman who questions his authority. Rand asserts his kingship and offers the soldiers a choice: lay down arms or follow him, but he will not allow any to leave unarmed. As voices of dissent rise against his leadership, Rand, filled with rage and frustration, returns to his camp, commanding vigilance from his nobles. In Chapter 14, Rand arrives at the encampment of his troops, where factions are wary but united under him. Torval, sent by the Mahale, brings news of Aes Sedai and Morandi posing a threat to the Black Tower, which Rand dismisses. He learns of 19 deserters and 51 casualties at the Black Tower. Fedwin Moore announces the Seancian are advancing on Illian, prompting Rand to strategize. He reviews maps and considers troop placements, aware of the Seancians' organizational skills. Moore mentions a strange Aes Sedai weapon affecting Sidon, raising concerns. Rand resolves to act, aware of the growing madness among his Ashaman. In Chapter 15, Egwene wakes from unsettling dreams and overhears an argument between Halima and Siouan. Egwene meets Lord Brine, who informs her that an army led by Pelavar is advancing from the north, planning to establish a defensive position. Egwene aims to avoid conflict, proposing a meeting with Pelavar and Arathella to negotiate. Brine agrees, but warns it may take until tomorrow night for a response. Egwene insists on keeping the army's existence secret from the Hall. After Brine leaves, she instructs Siouan to wake several sisters to prepare for the negotiations, emphasizing the urgency of the situation. In Chapter 16, Egwene announces a short halt for rest and repairs, addressing the sisters' concerns about food shortages and supply issues. Tensions rise between Lelaine and Romanda as they discuss the sea folks' interest in Rand. Romanda insists Egwene attend an upcoming meeting with Pelivar and Arathel, planning to speak for her. Lelaine, aware of Romanda's bullying, offers to help Egwene but asserts that she is not truly in charge. Egwene resolves to grow into her role and seize authority. The chapter ends with Sheriam being threatened for failing to keep Egwene informed, leading to her distress. In Chapter 17, Egwene and the Aes Sedai ride under the White Tower banner, accompanied by cavalry led by Uno Nomesta. Tensions arise among the Aes Sedai as they reach a meeting at a frozen lake. Egwene asserts her authority, seating herself above the nobles, who are visibly displeased. As the nobles express concerns about Aes Sedai actions, Egwene firmly declares herself the Amirlan seat and outlines their agenda, promising not to cross into Andor. She emphasizes that their presence in Mirandi will be temporary and introduces a new policy allowing women of all ages to test for the Novice Book. In Chapter 18, Egwene observes the dynamics among the nobles as they swarm the sitters for answers, revealing their skepticism towards her leadership. She discreetly instructs Sheriam to gather information about the sisters in Andor. Egwene and Talmanes discuss Mat's potential arrival and the shifting political landscape as Andorans increase their presence in Mirandi. Talmans mentions King Rodrin's interest in hiring the band, suggesting a potential alliance. Egwene urges him not to be drawn into conflict. She navigates the pavilion, noting the nobles' reactions and the interest in her announcement about the Novice Book, planting seeds of change among them. In Chapter 19, Egwene and the sitters, accompanied by Lord Brine, rush through the snowy landscape to the army's camp. Rumors about Aes Sedai abound, but little information is concrete. Upon arrival, Brine expresses a desire to stay with Egwene, who advises him to leave for his safety. Inside the camp, Egwene prepares for a pivotal meeting. She boldly calls for a declaration of war against Elaida, challenging the sitters' reluctance. After initial hesitation, a majority support the declaration, and Egwene asserts her authority, declaring plans to begin the siege of Tar Valon in 1 month, marking a significant shift in power. In Chapter 20, Elaine, Avienda, and Birgitte arrive in Kemlin, recovering from injuries. Nynaeve heals them while tensions rise among the group. Elaine discovers Andorans are disillusioned with the Dragon Reborn. They struggle to acquire warm clothing, leading to humorous arguments about blame, but Avienda's gemstones successfully trade for woolens. Renail demands Merilil to teach her, revealing power dynamics among the women. The kinswomen observe Merilil's compliance, pondering their future with the Aes Sedai. Elaine and Nynaeve reflect on their recent reprimand from Egwene and leave a message for her in Tel Arenriod before returning to their bodies. In Chapter 21, Rand struggles with winter storms while waiting for the Ashaman. Gedwyn arrives with a contingent ready to follow Rand's orders amid rising tensions among nobles regarding loyalty and power. Rand contemplates strategies against the Seanchan and prepares to travel, reflecting on trust and alliances. Narishma enters with a mysterious bundle, heightening the mission's significance. Rand's Legion of the Dragon departs Ilion as nobles speculate about their purpose. Days pass without word from the Ashaman, and various nobles arrive, many untrustworthy. Finally, Davram Basher arrives, questioning Rand's plan as he considers the potential for battle against the Seanchan. In Chapter 22, Rand's army gathers under gloomy skies, with Rand feeling the taint of Satan more intensely. Discontent brews among the nobles, prompting Rand to confront dissenters before opening a gateway to Altara. As they advance, Rand narrowly avoids an ambush by enemy archers and channels a destructive fire, suffering physically from the strain. Amidst the chaos, he encounters the corpse of Egan Padros, revealing ties to Tar Valon. Meanwhile, Bakun, commanding the Seanchan, learns of an approaching enemy force of 5 to 6 times their number. He prepares to move his command to a more defensible position as dark storms gather. In Chapter 23, Rand leads Taidaishar through a recently won battlefield, reflecting on the war's toll. He decides to release captured soldiers, but retains the Soldums. Farik Kareda, realizing the Alterans are mobilizing, orders a strategic retreat amidst crossbow fire. Despite chaotic conditions and severe injuries from lightning, Rand persists in rallying his troops. He is healed by more, but is still weak. Meanwhile, the battle shifts as the Seanchan retreat. Rand's allies advocate for pursuing the Seanchan to Ebudar, while Bashir argues for withdrawal. Rand considers the possibility of taking Ebudar, encouraged by Luz Theron. In Chapter 24, Karl observes the Seanchan forces assembling near Ebudar, leading Captain General Mirage to alert Rand about the imminent threat. High Lady Suroth orders preparations for battle, and Rand devises a plan to attack in 5 columns, but is warned by Deshiva about the instability of Saidin. As a scout confirms the Seanchan's advance, Rand mobilizes his forces. On the battlefield, chaos ensues, and Rand unleashes Kalendor, channeling devastating lightning at the Seanchan. However, he inadvertently harms his own troops. In the aftermath, Bashir and others look on as Rand grapples with the consequences of his actions, realizing he has lost. In Chapter 25, Elaida presides over a tense meeting with 6 sitters, discussing the exaggerated reports about the Seanchan and the implications of their power. Valina downplays the threat, while Duhara and others grow uneasy at the mention of forkroot, a herb that can prevent channeling. As tensions rise, Elaida asserts her authority over the tower and reminds them of their duties. Suddenly, Alviarin returns unexpectedly, holding a parchment and asserting her influence over Elaida. Alviarin demands Elaida sign a decree that publicly acknowledges Rand al'Thor as the Dragon Reborn, a decision Elaida fears could jeopardize her plans. In Chapter 26, Siain navigates the White Tower's chilly corridors, reflecting on tensions among the Ajas. She meets Zera Dakan and invites her to assist with a secret mission. In the tower's depths, they confront Pavara, who questions Zera about the Black Aja. Zera reluctantly agrees to take an oath on the Oath Rod, but collapses under conflicting commands. Pavara and Siain recognize the danger of conflicting oaths. They plot to recruit Zera into their cause to hunt the Black Aja, realizing that care is needed in their approach. Meanwhile, Tovin Ghazal leads a group of Reds through Andor, plotting their mission against the Black Aja. She is suddenly ambushed by Ashaman, realizing the situation is dire when they are all shielded and commanded to surrender by the Dragon Reborn. In Chapter 27, Min anxiously awaits Rand, who reveals he killed Jonan Adley. Tension rises as Aes Sedai Marana and Rafala discuss a bargain with the Sea Folk demanding land for naval support. Rand confronts Katswana's absence, feeling he needs her guidance despite his stubbornness. Min witnesses 3 maidens attack Rand for dishonoring them, highlighting their expectations of loyalty. Rand's frustration grows and he seeks Katswani's advice. Katswani challenges Rand, discussing Kalendor's dangers, revealing its flaws and risks. Rand realizes he must ask for her help respectfully, underscoring the weight of his decisions as he grapples with the looming chaos. In Chapter 28, tensions rise among the kinswomen at Harlem Bridge as Adeleas reveals her identity as Zarya, a runaway novice, and confronts Garania. Kirstian admits her own past as a runaway, leading to distrust within the group. Their journey takes a dark turn when they discover the murdered bodies of Adeleas and Ispan, indicating a dark friend among them. Meanwhile, Elaine arrives in Kemlin, asserting her claim to the throne, while David Hanlon reflects on looting opportunities in the city. He receives orders from Lady Sheen, a chosen, involving the brutal punishment of an Aes Sedai and plans concerning a queen. In Chapter 29, Rand refuses to see Elaine, believing it's safer for her. Min urges him to confront her, but he remains distant. 5 Aes Sedai arrive seeking forgiveness, and Rand demands their oaths. An explosion rocks the Sun Palace, and Rand fears for Min's safety, ordering Fedwin to protect her while he investigates. He uses the One Power to conceal himself as chaos ensues. While searching for his attackers, he encounters Deshiva and other enemies, leading to a fierce confrontation. Rand ultimately confronts Mazrim Taim about deserters, expresses determination, and prepares for what lies ahead, sensing danger. In Chapter 30, Perrin and his group arrive in Abila, where they confront the hostile prophet Masema. Despite his accusations of treachery, Perrin insists they must ride to Karian to meet Rand. Fele learns that Masema has been meeting with the Seanchan and decides to investigate. Suddenly, Aiel attack, resulting in chaos and casualties among Perrin's group. Fael, separated from her companions, is captured by Aiel while trying to escape. She witnesses the death of Paralian and the capture of others, realizing the urgent need to warn Perrin about Masema before her own fate unfolds. In Chapter 31, winter slows trade and communication, and rumors spread wildly across the lands. Tales about the White Tower, The Black Tower and the Dragon Reborn vary drastically. Some claim that Elaida has triumphed over rebel Aes Sedai, while others suggest the Black Tower is in chaos, with Ashaman hunting each other. The Seanchan are either defeating or serving the Dragon Reborn, and there are conflicting stories about his fate, from defeat to death. As these rumors spread, people plan their actions based on what they believe to be true, while the pattern weaves toward the future.